Hi everyone, I am Sheila Kenya and this is my friend Sila Isaac. We are studying education here at the University of Goroka, specifically taking graduate diploma in teaching or GDT. We will do a short video presentation on the topic educated for listeners under the course educational psychology. Okay, what is educated foolishness? Educated foolishness is a paradox which describes a well educated person who has trouble dealing with everyday situation or socializing. Although he or she may be very intelligent, but he or she often ends up with awkward situation due to him being foolish. Educated foolishness refers to a situation where someone has a lot of knowledge or expertise, or in other words, we can say is they're educated but still makes poor decision, acts unwisely, or fails to understand basic things. It's like having a powerful engine but not knowing how to drive it. In this way, we might be book smart but lack common sense, practical wisdom, or the ability to apply our knowledge effectively. For example, a good example would be some or most of us, university students or even working staff, though we are educated, but we don't really care about where we throw our rubbishes at town, at the marketplace, public area, or even in our own school environment without realizing that we are filtering or littering our own environment. And that is a common way most of us educated elites or people lost our common sense and acted foolishly. Okay, we have done a research and come up with five key aspects of educated foolishness. We'll be discussing five aspects of educated foolishness here. And the first one is specialized knowledge without general knowledge. For example, meaning that most of the people can be expert in one area, but they are clueless in other areas. And that's where most of us being acting foolish. Okay, we have done a research and come up with five key aspects of educated foolishness that we will be discussing here. The first one is specialized knowledge without general knowledge, meaning that people can be experts in one area but clueless in others. Okay, the second key aspect of educated foolishness is overconfidence. Overconfidence can lead us to being or acted in a foolishness manner, meaning that the more someone knows, the more they think they know everything, where this can lead them to silly and simple mistakes. For example, a doctor or a surgeon doesn't listen effectively to his patient worries or pain, assuming that he knows the best and that any complaints are just minor issues. The doctor is failing to learn from his mistakes. And when complications do occur, the surgeon or the doctor is quick to blame others or the poor sick patient rather than being honest reflection of his own actions, being honest of his reflection of his own actions. Because every time educated people see themselves as infallible people. Okay, the third aspect or common aspects of being educated foolishness is lack of practical application, meaning that knowing facts is one thing and using them wisely is another thing. For example, a teacher dressed in an unprofessional manner showing is or a student a bad example of being unprofessional in a learning environment in the school. And this is where he or she is being acting foolish when he dress up unprofessionally to the classroom. The fourth key aspects of being educated foolishness is when you ignore or ignoring common sense. Sometimes people with lots of education qualifications overthink or ignore simple and obvious solutions. For example, a nursing officer refused to pay full attention to a sick patient that might lead to prescribing of wrong medication and can affect the patient's life, which is in that situation the nursing officer is be ignoring the common sense that leads him to be acting in a foolish way or manner. Okay, the fifth key aspect of being educated foolishness is becoming detached from reality or separate from reality. Education can sometimes create an environment where one loses touch with everyday life and the real world consequences. And that is when most of the educated elites or educated people acting in a foolish manner when they are being separated from the real world. They are not using their common sense in a proper manner that leads them to a way that they acted foolishly. For example, a geologist working in a mining company has extensive knowledge of mineral deposits, geological formations, and extraction techniques, is highly skilled in its specialized field. However, he consistently failed to understand or respect the local customary land ownership systems, the importance of traditional environmental practices, and the cultural significance of the land is working on. A geologist can possess deep expertise in a specific field, geology in mining, but lack essential general knowledge about the social, cultural, and the environment context of his work. You don't understand the importance of the customary land rights, the potential impact on its actions on the local communities, or the traditional ways the environment is managed. This lack of general knowledge can lead to negative consequences such as degrade local land claims, causing conflicts, damage cultural significant sites, disrupt traditional environmental practices, and even fail to effectively communicate with the local communities. The geologist's specialized knowledge without the broader context can lead to poor decisions and negative outcomes, making him foolish despite his education and experiences. So, this is an example that highlights how someone can be highly skilled in their area of expertise but lack essential general knowledge, leading them to problems and demonstrating a form of educated foolishness.
Okay, the second one is information overloaded. We are constantly bombarded with information, making it hard to distinguish the important from the unimportant. For instance, when you fail to organize your memory box, you do not know which is important from the unimportant. Okay, the third one is lack of practical experiences. Book learning doesn't always prepare us for the real world. For instance, lack of theory to practice will not help us to do things in an appropriate manner, like splitting a beetle nut stain everywhere instead of controlling it in appropriate manner. Okay, in every issue or problem, we always try our best to find a solutions or come up with solutions that can helps us reduce those problems. And here are some of the solutions or ways of minimizing or reducing acting foolishness. The first one is seek a well-rounded education. Try to learn about different subjects and develop a big or broad understanding of the world. For instance, as an educated man and woman, we must have a broad or big knowledge of understanding from little thing to big thing, like saying thank you or please excuse me when necessary needed in various situations. Okay, the second way is to cultivate common sense, meaning that pay attention to everyday situations, listen to others, and always trust your instinct. For instance, you as an educated person must have a sense of knowing what to do and what not to do. When problem arises, try your best to solve it by adapting appropriate approaches to sort it out. Human nature. We all make mistakes and can be blinded by our own pace or overconfidence. For instance, if you have overconfidence in all aspects of your life, you will be out of sense and do unnecessary things like using bad words in the public place to swearing someone by intellectual people. Okay, the third way of minimizing acting being foolish is to practice critical thinking. As an educated person, always think before talk or act in any situations in a manner that avoided being foolish. Analyze information carefully and don't be afraid to change your mind. Okay, another way to avoid foolishness is to seek diverse perspectives, meaning to say that don't rely solely on one source or viewpoints. You must try your best to read, listen to, and talk to people with different backgrounds and experiences. This will help you see different sides of the story and identify potential mistakes. The fourth way to avoid being foolish is to stay modest or humble, meaning to say that even though you are educated, you must stay humble and act as if you don't know everything, and that will help you learn many things you don't know. Okay, the fifth way to avoid being foolish is to learn from your mistakes, meaning that reflect on your experiences and try to do better next time. For instance, as an educated man and woman, have a sense of control over your pieces from what you did in the past.
Okay, this brings us to the end of our short video presentation on the topic educated for listeners. We hope our short video presentation at least give you some ideas or help you learn something on this topic educated for listeners.
So,
So, as an educated
person,
person, let's
let's
not
not be
be
foolish.
foolish. Thank you.